I'm going to do a lesson here on factoring the difference of two perfect squares, but I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm not going to follow rules, lots and lots of rules, because there is a rule that says a squared minus b squared equals a plus b times a minus b. And the reason why I'm not going to follow this rule is because a lot of times kids can't remember it. They can't remember it real well. Now, if you got it down, then you wouldn't be watching this video in the first place, right? So this would be x plus 3, and this would be x minus 3. And it's quick. I get that. It's quick, it's fast, I get it done, and I'm done with the problem. But if you don't get it, then it gets a little bit confusing. So I'm going to use what we've already learned about factoring, which was grouping, and with the trinomials. Because really, the trinomials are, we learned how to factor them, breaking up the middle terms and throwing that into grouping and then doing that. I'm going to do the same thing because my thought is, why not give you the same, if I can, give you the same technique for all the factoring I can. All right, so let's do that same exact problem, the x squared minus 9. All right, x squared minus 9. If you look, it's not a trinomial. It's only a binomial. It only has two terms versus 3. But we can rewrite this so that we have three terms. We're going to rewrite it as, because there are no x's, I'm going to put 0x in there. Now I have a trinomial. So now you can go back to your thoughts of MA. So I want to multiply to give me negative 9 and add to give me 0. Well, if you think about the things that give you negative 9, there's only two numbers that'll give you negative 9, which will also add to be 0. Negative 3 and positive 3. If I were to add those up, I would get 0. So I'm going to rewrite, and again, this is only me applying the same things we have been doing all along. So I'm using the same technique for as much of the different types of factoring as I can, but the same technique. All right, again, we take out the GCF of the first two terms, which is x, and we're left with an x plus 3. We copy it over here, x plus 3, and then we try to figure out how am I going to get negative 3x and how am I going to get negative 9 from an x plus 3. I have to take out an x. I have to take out a minus 3. So that minus 3 times x gives me negative 3x, and negative 3 times 3 gives me negative 9. And then, as we've been doing in the past videos, in the past examples, take the outside things, put them together, put the things they have in common together, and you're done. Same answer as though I had done in the previous problem where I did that rule really quickly. Now, was the rule real quick? Yes. But if you forget the rule, you're in trouble. So this allows you to follow these instructions to get you through problems where you can follow the same process. And once you get good at it, these steps go really fast. So I suggest that if you're still struggling with remembering those rules and stuff, but you got that grouping down and you've worked on MA and you seem to do really well with the MA, or you're getting better at it, then I would suggest you do it this way where you're doing the same process and then there's less steps and less different steps to have to use when trying to solve these examples. So let's do another one. X squared minus 64. Again, I would rewrite this with 0x, so I have a trinomial. All right. Then I'm going to do MA. I'm multiplying to get negative 64, and I'm adding to get 0. So again, negative 8 and positive 8 are the two numbers that give me 0 when I add. So I'm going to rewrite, and then I'm going to do this problem with grouping. GCF is x, pull out an x, left with an x plus 8. Rewrite. And then I'm going to take out, looks like a negative 8 in order to make negative 8x and negative 64 when I distribute. So the outside things get pulled together under one parenthesis, and then I rewrite what they have, or write what they have in common. And I'm done. Okay, so I want to show you an example which doesn't work, because let's do something like this. X squared plus 16. Now your teacher's probably told you this doesn't work. And why? Well, let's see. Because when I go to do this, I'm going to rewrite x squared plus 0x plus 16. I do my MA chart, 16 and add to be 0. You cannot come up with a combination of numbers that are going to multiply to give you 16, but add to give you 0. Now you could put negative 4 and positive 4 and argue with me that negative 4 plus positive 4 is 0, but this guy is negative 16, not positive 16. So be careful. So when you get something like this, don't just automatically jump into it. Take a breather and say, hey, this has to be a subtraction sign in order for us to do all of the rest of this. So right now, this x squared plus 16 is factored fully. You can't do anything with that. This would be your answer, fully factored, because you can't do anything else with it. So now let's do some problems that are a little bit more difficult. Let's add some extra numbers. So let's put in 4x squared minus 9. Let's do that. All right, so now we've got to figure out this. Now we're going to make our MA, we're going to do our MA chart. We've got to fill that out, and we got to rewrite. So 4x squared plus 0x minus 9. So remember that whenever you get a leading coefficient, you have to multiply these two first. So that's going to, so we're looking for factors of, what is that, negative 36. So I'm going to multiply, what multiplies to give me negative 36 and adds to give me 0. Think about things that give you 36. Well, I got, there's a lot. There's 2 and 18, 12 and 3, 6 and 6. Ooh, 6 and 6. That sounds right because I've got to get 0. Now I got a negative 36, which is good. So negative 6 and positive 6 multiply to give us negative 36, and negative 6 plus 6 does give us 0. So those are the numbers we're going to use, and you're going to rewrite 4x squared plus 6x minus 6x minus 9. Okay, what do they have in common? 2x. Okay, so I'm left with a 2x plus 3. Rewrite it over here to the right, leaving space to fill in the mystery amount. Now I need negative 6x and I have a positive 2x. What do I need to put into that blank? So I need to, well, how do you get negative 6 from positive 2? A negative 3. Well, negative 3, does that times 3, does that give me negative 9? Yes, it does. Okay, cool. So now I write what's on the outside together and copy what they had in common, and you're done. I just want to point out, if you notice that 4x squared, if you did it, split it into two equal pieces, 2x and 2x, gives you 4x squared. And notice that negative 3 times positive 3 does give you negative 9. So if you can remember that rule, it's fast. But again, if you are not a big rule memorizer, then just practice these steps over and over and you will have it down. Now, the only way they can make this a little bit more complicated is to add more letters and numbers in. So let's say I did, let's do some difficult ones. 64x squared minus, let's do, let's see, 36y squared. All right, so I got lots of letters. Okay, so now I've got two different letters. Well, how does that play into this whole thing? Well, first thing we're going to do is look for a GCF, because remember, GCF should be always done first. So it looks like I can take out a 4. 4, I think. If I take a 4 out of that, I'm left with 16x squared minus 9y squared. And after a while, if you practice these enough, you start recognizing the numbers. And even on the SOL, they don't put many numbers on, the state tests of Virginia. They don't put a lot of high numbers in there. They just want to see if you know the concepts. All right, so remember this 4 has to be part of my answer. So I'm going to write it down here just so I don't forget. And I know that I'm going to get that kind of answer when I'm done. So I write that so I don't forget about that 4. All right, so now I'm going to rewrite. And again, when you do something like this and you're doing MA, you want factors of, now, when you have a first and a last, okay, so actually let's rewrite this first. Now, when you have 2 letters, you've got to express the middle terms as in 2 letters. Okay? So that's what I'm looking at here, the 2 letters I'm working with. So I'm looking for things to add to be 0 and multiply to give me, let's see, 16 and 9. Let's see, that's a lot. That's 144. 144 negative. All right, so something that gives me negative 144 and adds to be 0. Again, if you know your times tables really well, negative 12 times positive 12 will give you the negative 144, and then negative 12 plus 12 gives you 0. So I'm going to rewrite. So I'm going to rewrite this, 16x squared minus 12xy plus 12xy minus 9y squared. Now it looks kind of complicated, but remember that we're just doing that so we can do our GCFs. So what can we take out of 16x squared and 12x? We can take out a 4x. Okay, if we take out a 4x, remember how we do that? We look at the minimum amount each letter can be taken out. So in this case, the minimum number of x's is x, and the minimum number of y's, I don't have any here, so I can't take any y's out. So what am I left with? I'm left with 4x minus 3y. All right, and then again, I'm going to write this down, 4x minus 3y. Now I need to get a positive 12x y, so I need to take out a positive 3y in order to get positive, in order for this to be multiplied to give me 12xy, and for positive 3 and negative 3y to give me 9y squared. So that's cool. All right, and then I just have to copy things on the outside, 4x plus 3y, and the things that are duplicate we write in its own parenthesis. And remember that I already included the 4 down here at the bottom so I wouldn't forget it. And there's your answer.